Okay, everybody. Well, good morning and welcome to the Kentucky Manufacturing Career Center and all the tremendous things that are taking place here. I just spoke to a bunch of y'all in the other room and just talked about a lot has really changed since we came out of the recession here some 5 or 6 years ago. Unemployment in the city was over 10%. Today, our economy is really rolling. We're about 4.7% unemployment. 63,000 new jobs have been created, 2,600 new businesses, and $10 billion of capital construction. And we've done it all together. That's what thank you. One of the things that's helped us grow is our business cluster strategy. And that's when we focus on industry sectors where we think we can either be best in the world or we are best in the world. We're not so big as a city that we can be everything to everybody like a New York economy can be or an LA economy. So we have to be focused and we have to have our own value proposition. And one of those sectors is advanced manufacturing. As I mentioned earlier, we have about 70, 80,000 manufacturing jobs in our city. Of course, we have some very large employers. GE is represented here with us today, 2 Ford plants in the city, and then all the suppliers that goes into them, and then many of our small and medium-sized manufacturers, many of whom are represented here today and are part of the resurgence of manufacturing in Louisville. The Kentucky Manufacturing Career Center has been a big part in helping create that boom in our city with manufacturing. And I'm really happy to be here to celebrate what is the 4th anniversary of KMCC, which is really pretty incredible when you look around here. Because 4 years ago, Michael, we were kind of lonely when we were here. Cindy, I mean, it was like, okay, can we get started now? So it's really great. And it's not just 4 years, but we've also had a symbolic announcement as well, or symbolic development. And I'm excited to announce that the Kentucky Manufacturing Career Center has just achieved the milestone of placing its 1,000th person in a good job and a brighter future. So that number 1,000 is something we can all be proud of, and I'll introduce that special person in just a few minutes. And as he's going to tell you, this center is important in many reasons. But one is the training and confidence that it gives an individual when they're looking to move up in manufacturing or enter the manufacturing sector in the first place. It's important when somebody shows up at work that they feel like, okay, I'm ready to go here. I got a skill set. I know I got a lot more to learn, but I've got the confidence and motivation to do so. Now, when you look at the numbers here, in addition to the 1,000 people that we've placed at more than 100 area manufacturing facilities, people that have come through KMCC have also earned over 3,100 training certificates and credentials. This is all very important, as we know, because now if you're an employer, somebody comes in, they say, okay, here's the credentials, here's the certificates I have. That really helps our HR teams understand who we're working with, what they can do, how they can enter our company and help us put them in the right place. So that's fantastic. We're seeing more and more emphasis on that in our community. And I tell our kids coming out of high school in particular, if you say I'm not a college person, say, okay, but you've got to get some kind of specialty. If you don't get that, you're basically working at poverty-level jobs. So KMCC, one of the big important things we have going on here is certificates and credentials. Now, with our 1,000th placement, we're working on our next 1,000, and the next training class starts soon. And I urge anyone who's looking for a good job, a new start, a change in a career, to please check it out. Call 276-9711 or kentuckianaworks.org, and you can learn more about how to have a career in manufacturing. This training that we have here is important too, because the training in large part was designed by local manufacturing companies. So it's very relevant to what our manufacturers need, so that when you show up to work there, you'll be able to contribute right away. And currently there's a 4-week certified production technician course, CPT course, and a 2-week version. And both of these meet from 9 to 5, 5 days a week, so you're not kind of goofing around, wasting time. You're getting right after it here so you can move to employment right away. And one of the CPT training classes is underway today. I understand a few of those folks are with us here in the room. Is that right? Yeah, right back here. Okay, thank you. Let's hear it for them. All right. Good job. We also have a new course The newest course being offered is the Manufacturing Training for English Language Learners, which is a collaboration with our Office for Globalization at the city. Probably was 3 or 4 weeks ago, we graduated a great class of highly motivated people last month, and it was really a beautiful thing. So these folks were relatively new to America, immigrants, some of them refugees, and they were just trying to, get settled, get their feet on the ground, and somehow they learned about this course. Some of them did, I think, through one of the churches, had 6 different folks here. And this was a group of refugees that came from countries, where they were nurses. One guy was a doctor, another mechanical engineer, but they had language barriers, and then they also had cross-certification barriers. So this class was able to pull all that together, and then we had a bunch of employers, actually right along here, that were very enthusiastic, and a bunch of those folks have been placed already. So this is a good example of how to innovate, both with the dynamic that we've got as a city becoming an increasingly global city, with the need that we have in our advanced manufacturing community, and pull all that together so we can create an even better workforce. Okay, and so in addition to training, there's other resources and support. In keeping with our one-stop mission here, we also want to address any barriers that people might have when they're starting a job. So amongst other things here, we can provide vouchers for required work clothes, such as steel-toed boots, and transportation to jobs through Goodwill Cars to Work. So Rena Sharp, that must be one of the things that you guys are doing. Thank you very much. So I guess before I turn it over to a few other folks here, programs like this don't happen in our community if we don't have partners step up. And when we started with 3 or 4 employers 4 years ago, and where we're at right now, filling this room, you see the power of public-private partnerships, of people saying, because I heard it, and I'm a private sector guy, manufacturing guy, all the manufacturers saying our workforce just isn't getting it done. And so one thing what we can do is convene organizations and say, okay, well, let's figure it out together. So whether it's KMCC doing that, or our FAME program, or our partnership with Jefferson County Public Schools, it shows us the power when we come together and take the time to develop these type of programs. So it's public in terms of city money, then also federal money. So the federal money comes through a program called WIOA, Workforce Investment Opportunity Act, which was a program that was fine-tuned in the last, Michael, probably 3 years or so, 2 to 3 years by the Obama administration. It's very important that we lobby our friends that hold federal offices, so our congressmen, our senators, also just directly with the White House. These WIOA dollars have allowed us to move much more quickly in a much more targeted, value-added way. The old workforce stuff wasn't nearly as flexible. So when people say, does government ever help? Government's helped a lot make this happen right here. Congressman Yarmouth could not be here this morning, but I want to thank him. He's been a real strong partner in this work. President Trump, when he put out his so-called skinny budget, the workforce investment dollars were whacked off of that. As you've heard from most members of the Congress, there's not going to be, I think the future of the skinny budget's not so good. As one of them said, we've been ignoring presidents' budgets here for 30 years, and we're not going to stop ignoring them now. Okay, I said, that's fine, as long as you keep things like WIOA in your budget. So this is something that business people, please rally behind and let our federal representatives know that as well. So we now have 130 companies that are participating in one way or another here with KMCC. One of these folks that's gotten on the ground floor with this, and I really appreciate this is GE Appliances. When you have a big company like GE Appliances, it's easy to get frustrated. I guess maybe that's the best way to put it. But then the great companies say, we're frustrated over workforce, but we're going to do something about it, and we're going to do that by pulling the whole community together and using this kind of the scale and heft of a GE and their global reach, and they got a lot of resources when they're that big. So they could just say, we're going to just do it by ourselves. But that's not how GE Appliances works in our community. They say we're going to expand the tent, we're going to use our resources to help everybody else come along as well. And I really appreciate that. They've got a great culture and have really helped out. And then they deliver. GE has hired more than 45 individuals that have come through this center here, which is fantastic, and I know they're going to hire more. So I'd like to invite Tom Quick GE's Vice President of Human Resources, to talk about this relationship. Tom?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Mayor Fischer, for the introduction, and welcome to our distinguished guests and the Kentuckiana Works team, the KMCC team, everybody who's taking the time here today. I want to add my congratulations here to the KMCC on the 1,000th placement in a manufacturing role. The KMCC continues to be a partner and an advocate for manufacturers in the Louisville region. The KMCC not only supports our citizens looking for jobs in manufacturing through training, information, and job placement, but it's also a catalyst in bringing together manufacturers. You can see in this room today how much of a catalyst the KMCC and Kentuckiana Works truly is. And as a manufacturer who seeks to add new employees to our respective companies, the KMCC is there as a partner with us along that journey. I'd like to also congratulate our 1,000th placement here through the KMCC. Since Mayor Fischer decided to hold back the introduction, I'm not going to give it away myself here a little bit. I'll leave that up to the mayor to be able to go do that. But we are really pleased in GE Appliances to join with other manufacturers in the region to truly be a partner with the KMCC through Kentuckiana Works. You can't do it, as the mayor said, by yourself. You really have to be able to do it in concert with others. We all share this desire to be able to add skills to our current workforce and add employees to our respective companies who have the skills to be successful going forward. How that works is it works through Kentuckiana Works, and specifically right here in the KMCC. You're standing where this happens, and you're standing as we see. Congratulations to you guys that are in the class here in the back of the room. You guys will be placement number 1,001 and 2 and 3 and 4, working our way to the next 2,000. That's really, really exciting. And I want to add my congratulations to you guys being here as well. The other thing is, I'll switch hats for a second. It would be remiss of me, as the current board chair of Kentuckiana Works, not to step back and also give a specific congratulations to the Kentuckiana Works staff and the KMCC team, and Michael and Cindy and everybody from Kentuckiana Works and KMCC. You guys really make a positive, tremendous positive difference inside our community every single day. And this is a tangible example, what we see in front of us here. And so as a participant on that Kentuckiana Works team through the board, I just want to, representing the board, congratulate the KMCC team for all your hard work and efforts to really make this happen for everybody. So it's tremendous. Thank you very much. Today is an exciting day. Manufacturing has great jobs, and we are going to continue to have great jobs. And we're going to have openings that we're needing people with the right requisite skills to be able to join us on that path. This is just an example of what we're doing here. So thank you for everybody being here today. Thank you, Mayor Fischer, for your leadership here in the city and in the region in Greater Louisville for making this happen. We're going to continue to do this together. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Tom. Appreciate it very much. Saw Carolyn Tandy over here. She's representing Congressman Yarmouth's office. We've already thanked him and said he's the country's best congressman. We appreciate him. Kentuckiana Works, of course, has been our workforce investment board, and so I'm a business guy too. I keep saying that. So I used to look at kind of these government programs and say, are they really adding value or not? And if you're a busy person in the private sector, frankly, you don't want to spend a lot of time with folks that don't add value. But when you can design a program and really add value the way that Kentuckiana Works does, that's when you see all these people come together like this to say it's really working. And Kentuckiana Works, especially with our WIOA flexible, kind of more entrepreneurial approach there, has really been able to step up and do a lot of really good things for the community. This is one example of it here. So Michael Gritton is our executive director at Kentuckiana Works. So Michael, to you and your team, I want to say really good job that you've been doing here. This is one example. We're getting ready to kick off our Summer Works program here pretty soon. We started our Summer Works program in 2011. 200 young people had summer jobs, and this past year was over 5,100. So I'm sure we'll increase that again this year and go from there. So this is just one of the programs we're doing here. But we can't do that at Kentuckiana Works or anywhere in Metro if we don't have a good team. And Cindy Reed, the Deputy Director of Kentuckiana Works, really does a tremendous amount of good work for the community, including this work that we have here at KMCC. So Cindy, if you could share a few words with us. Cindy Reed.
Thank you, Mayor Fischer. 5 years ago, we at Kentuckiana Works had the opportunity to apply for a grant to the Louisville Redevelopment Authority. And the person who told us about that is here today, Suhas Kulkarni. So I feel like I need to mention that. And we had this idea of a new concept for a workforce in our workforce development system, which would be a career center that focused on just one sector. And this would be, in this case, manufacturing. While manufacturing was actually declining in other parts of the country, it was growing here, as Mayor Fischer just mentioned. We were having a resurgence thanks to investment in the Ford plant and then following with GE bringing their jobs onshore, and then all the suppliers. It just was a chain reaction. So with partners such as the Jefferson Community and Technical College and JCPS Adult Education, we pulled together a focus group of employers on May 18th, 2012, and we listened to their ideas and concerns. They talked about raising awareness of manufacturing in high schools, tapping the talents of immigrants and refugees that were living in this neighborhood, and they talked about the skills needed for technical and entry-level jobs in plants that were undergoing automation, but still required people with technical abilities to meet customer demands. Employer partners such as Universal Woods, Paradise Tomato Kitchen, Cardinal Aluminum were at that meeting, and I think there are people from those organizations here, if they could raise their hand. They were at that very first meeting. Their names are there. And we generated a lot of ideas at that meeting. Since then, we formed an advisory group, an employer advisory group that's grown to, we've got 130 people that have been engaged in some form or fashion. And Paul Resch from Dant Clayton and April Troutman from Paradise Tomato Kitchens are the current co-chairs. They are also here. They could raise their hands. And also Rena Sharp, who was at that time vice president at Westport Axle, was our initial chair. She's in a new position, but we got her back here today because she really played an important role early on. And then I would like anybody here who is with the employer advisory group to please raise their hand. We had a little meeting, had an audience with Mayor Fischer earlier and really enjoyed that. So Kentuckiana Works' vision is relentlessly experimenting with workforce innovations to engage and influence the community. And the Kentucky Manufacturing Career Center is definitely an example of that. The first case managers who were assigned to the project came with enthusiasm but no playbook. We developed it as we went along. Zakia Raymore, today the operations manager at KMCC, was one of the people on hand to open the door with us 4 years ago. And her dedication has been a constant throughout the project, and we salute her as well as all the staff members, Catherine Grizzetto, Deidre Adams, Charmaine Angton, Josh Schauder, and Nikki Walker, all employees of our partner, ResCare Workforce Services. And then, of course, Michael Gritton has been mentioned, our executive director. He has also been a champion since day one. In writing the first grant, we weren't sure how many job placements to commit to, though we thought through a process, and I cannot remember how we came up with this number of 60. Maybe we could do 60 job placements a year. And then we realized that, as Mayor Fischer said, maybe that wouldn't be the value that we needed. So with some tweaks to the system, we're closer to 300 a year. And I'm very, very proud of what the staff does to make that happen. Soon, we also got additional funding. We had funding from the Louisville Redevelopment Authority, and then the National Fund for Workforce Solutions, JPMorgan Chase Foundation, James Graham Brown Foundation, the Gaines Foundation, PNC Foundation, and the Community Foundation of Louisville all helped us meet that goal year after year. And here we are today with 1,000 placements, each person with his or her own story of their readiness to make a life change and their willingness to invest in training that will better position them for advancement in manufacturing. We've heard that the current class is here today, and we recognize them. They all passed their quality module last week. They are doing their manufacturing production processes this week. And thanks to the leadership of Joanne Finkston in the purple shirt, she is our fearless training leader. She is getting them across the finish line each week. So good luck they take a test every week. It's not a gimme. It's something they have to prove every week. So good luck this Friday when you take your next exam. Also want to mention, this has been mentioned, but at a time when people are questioning the value of federally funded programs, like Mayor Fischer, I want to point out that the Kentucky Manufacturing Career Center is also funded by your federal tax dollars through the program Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. And Mayor Fischer didn't mention he was actually on hand when that legislation was signed in 2014. So while the training funds are 100% funded by the generous philanthropic partners I just mentioned, WIOA pays for the lights, the rent, and the dedicated staff that work every day to place people into jobs. That is literally your tax dollars at work, people. I want you to make sure you know that. In fact, we've calculated that WIOA funding invested in programs like this and other career services throughout our region created $49.8 million in payroll last year. So I hope one of the takeaways this morning is when we partner with private industry and local foundations, and then when we wisely leverage those contributions with federal investments, we can make good things happen in our local economy for an important industry sector. It's something we can all be proud of. Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy. So startup funding for the KMCC in 2013 came from the National Fund for Workforce Solutions, and that grant, as we just heard, was matched by local funders, including the Community Foundation of Louisville, Gaines Foundation, James Graham Brown Foundation, JPMorgan Chase Foundation, and the PNC Foundation. So I'd like to ask Paul Costell, who's president of local JPMorgan Chase, to come up here. They do a lot for this community in many different ways, and I really appreciate that, and this is one of their projects as well. Paul?
At JPMorgan Chase, we value workforce development. We've placed an emphasis on that for probably over 5 years now, and that's why we're excited to have worked both with the mayor and Michael here in Louisville. We've donated over $500,000 to organizations like Kentuckiana Works, like the Mayor's Summer Works Project, JCTC, all in helping combining really probably two of the most important things we can do, that is education and employment. And that's what this does. And so we're excited to have played a role here. I can tell you as I talk across to my peers across the country, I talk to the head of our foundation, this is a model. What Michael's doing here, what the mayor's doing here, they're admired across the country. So we're lucky to have both of them. And thanks for letting JPMorgan Chase play a part.
Thank you, Paul. Okay, now for a very special guest. Like many of the 1,000 people connected to jobs here, our next speaker learned about the Manufacturing Career Center after finding himself in a transition from one job to another and saying, I want to see if I can go a different direction. So after taking the training at KMCC, he landed his current job at Bigelow Tea here in Louisville and is doing very well. So let's hear it for our next speaker here, Tony Crawford.
Man, I'm just extremely blessed and extremely honored to be in this moment. And KMCC, like he said, is a model. They focus on training, education, and they don't want you to just find just a job. They want you to have a career. Joanne, Mark, they showed me how to be focused, be professional, come to work on time. Just learn what you need to do and do it correctly, and don't settle for short. You know what I'm saying? Settle for less. It's not a cakewalk. It's very intense. I mean, the first week I thought I was gonna just, skate right through it. Nah, it's not that easy. But Joanne and Mark, they showed me that, you just gotta pay attention. You gotta be focused. Come to work ready. Don't come to work, with everything else on, just be ready. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna help you. KMCC, Ms. Z, Catherine, it's like an extended family. She's like a second mother to me. Really. So, and Miss Catherine, she showed me that, this come, we're going to get you the meeting. We're going to get you signed up. I was a little skeptical at first because, I was, like you said, Miss Mary Fischer said, I was bouncing around job to job. I had temp service jobs here and there. I said I needed to reinvent myself. I need to get some training. I need to get some education. So I'm just feel, like I said, I feel blessed and feel honored to even be part of this program, KMCC, and to be introduced to a great company called Bigelow Tea. So, I mean, it feels like a dream right now. I mean, I feel like pinching myself. So, I mean, but I always tell all my peers and all my friends about this company and this program because it's an excellent company, excellent program because, like I said, the training that I learned here is like, you could do a year in college in 2 weeks. So it's just, you got my mindset ready for, huge companies. And when I came to Bigelow Tea, the plant manager said, I like you, you got something in you, and hopefully, you get back in school too. So that's what I'll be doing, planning on next year is going back to school and get my bachelor's. So.
All right. Working the line. Good job, man. No, when you talk about that, man, you just motivated a bunch of people, man, through your testimony of reinvention. Ms. Z, thank you. You guys motivate people here every day. The whole staff does. It's incredible what happens when people come through the door and we just care about each other and help each other. It's amazing what we can do. Now, Bigelow Tea, let's talk about them a little bit. This is just fun as we end here. Did you know Bigelow Tea produces more than 900 million tea bags a year? Okay, almost 1 billion tea bags. That's a lot of tea. About 20 million tea bags every week at your all's plant in Jeffersontown, which employs about 100 people. So next time you're thinking about buying tea, buy Bigelow Tea. All right, finally, I want to just give a special thanks to the partners who work with Kentuckiana Works to make this center successful. The Louisville Redevelopment Authority. Tom, are you in the room? Yeah. Yeah, thank you, man. Yeah. And Suhas and the Development Authority, all these guys got together. They kind of said, we can do this. And so you guys have been a really essential backbone for us and financial partner from day one in helping the whole community around here. So thank you so much for what you're doing and will continue to do as well. They fund the valuable training that we've heard so much about here this morning. JCTC has been a big partner as well. JCPS, we've seen them come together in a very powerful way through their adult and education and career and technical education. Preeminent Training Specialist is also a partner with us here, and Vision of Hope Ministries as well. And bottom line is we just couldn't do it without these partners and all of y'all here in the room as well. So I just want to thank everybody very much for all the efforts they've put into this, the tremendous success that we have so far, and that we will have in the future as well. Obviously, we're just getting started. So thanks, everybody, for coming out this morning.